Imagine you've been diagnosed with an incurable disease. What would you do? Where would you go? Who would you turn to? Well, a young man named Roman found himself in this exact situation when he was only 12 years old. He was diagnosed with an incurable disease called Crohn's disease. And so after 10 years of using modern medicine to help treat his ailments, he decided to turn to the Amazon rainforest to see what they could offer him. And when he went there, he didn't know what to expect. And so after 5 months of living with them, he became symptom-free of the Crohn's disease. And so now he's dedicated his life to help shed some light on what the Amazon rainforest has to offer as far as healing properties. And that is why I have decided to take this time and use it as an opportunity to further shed some light on this area of healing properties that the Amazon rainforest has. So as I've gotten older, I have developed certain supposedly expected ailments, such as, heartburn and, daily headaches and the inability to fall asleep or the inability to stay asleep. And so instead of turning to, over-the-counter modern medicine such as antacids and NoDoz and Tylenol, I have decided that I wanted to take a more natural approach to it. So I have turned to, what are those natural possibilities? And in my studies, I have looked into, what the Amazon rainforest has to offer. And so I want to talk to you guys about the how we already use, the plants that are in the Amazon rainforest in our modern medicine today already. And then I would like to talk to you guys about the further possibilities of what we can use the plants of the Amazon rainforest for. And then I wanted to give you guys a few examples of what we've already used those plants for and what have been proven and known to work to have healing powers and properties. First I would like to talk about, did you know that 1/4 of all modern medicine developed today, comes from plant material? Consider we've only begun to scratch the surface. The Amazon rainforest has over 200,000 species of plants in its canopy. Have you ever had an ache or a pain? Or have you ever had an injury or maybe a sports-related injury? Or possibly have you ever had to have surgery? Well, more than likely you've already been introduced to modern medicine that has been derived from the Amazon rainforest. So instead of turning deeper to more modern medicine and chemically engineered medicine, let's turn towards what the Amazon rainforest has to offer. And so what do they further have to offer? What are the possibilities? Well, Michael Blaylock, who is a director of the Institute of Economic Botany, and he's quoted in the article Nature's Pharmacy with saying, of more than 265,000 known plant species, less than 3% have been tested for their medical applications, yet still, out of this tiny portion comes 25% of all modern medicine. So we've established that using plants and to heal our bodies isn't as far-fetched as we once thought. And let's take a further look into the Amazon rainforest. What does it have to offer? Well, let's look at the big picture here. And the big picture is how much is it going to cost for the research and testing? And is it worth it? Many people would say, is it worth it? And if it is worth it, where do we begin to look into this study and to where do we begin to know what we can use out of the rainforest? Well, Mark Plotkin, who is a well-known ethobotanist, said, if we look at the Amazon rainforest as an encyclopedia of medical plants, then the indigenous medicine men are certainly as an index and table of contents. And so he's saying basically the indigenous medical men, which we know as shamans, are basically the key in understanding all the ins and outs of what these plants can do and how to use them to help us. So these indigenous medical men, they're not really what you typically think of a shaman. They don't walk around in headdresses and wear war paint and stuff. They're just like me and you, and they dress, just in normal garb, and they have healing properties. Sorry, not healing properties. They have healing knowledge to use these plants to help heal our bodies. And so the gentleman I spoke of earlier, named Roman, he partnered with some other gentlemen, and they decided to make a documentary. And the documentary is called Sacred Science. And it is a documentary in which, they take 8 people from the modern Western civilizations, some with varying ailments, some minor, some very serious, and they brought them to the Amazon rainforest to live for 30 days to see what these shamans can help them in healing their bodies. And after 30 days, 5 of them came back to America with considerably improved healing. Some, they're not complete healing, but some, their range of motion was just, increased exponentially, or a few of them had the ability to, not use their medicine at all. So with this, I would like to encourage you guys to know what you're putting in your bodies, and to use a more natural approach, to maybe turn to more natural approaches that the Amazon rainforest has to offer. And thank you for listening. Have a good night.